What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about the major problem the Vikings have on their 53-man roster, and that is the cornerback position. How can the Vikings fix this? Can they trade for some big-name targets? We'll talk about it all on today's show. But let's just quickly look at the four-man group that the Vikings have at the cornerback position. They only kept 4 corners on their final 53-man roster, that being Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, Jeff Okudah, and Dwight McGlothern. Now, I anticipate that this room will get another body before week 1 against the Chicago Bears. Now, how big of a move will it be? Could they perform a blockbuster NFL trade, or could they just sign another guy? We'll determine all that on today's show. But if the Vikings do want to go out there and add a blockbuster player, they have the ammunition to do so. Still, after the Thielen move, the Vikings have around $25.5 million in cap space, and they still have 11 picks in 2026. So if the Vikings want to get super aggressive, if they want to perform any trade out there, they have the ammunition to do so. It just comes down if the price is right for the Minnesota Vikings. But speaking about the cornerback position, if you guys want the Vikes to add another corner, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. Maybe Kwesi's watching this video. Let's send him a message. And if you guys want the Vikes to add another corner, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. Now, there's no doubt that the Vikings need to add another corner before the start of the season. This is not a want. This is not a luxury move. This is a full need for the Minnesota Vikings. You only have 4 guys there. Now, could you go perform a blockbuster trade? Get an Alontae Taylor, get potentially a Daron Bland, 100%, but they just at least need to add another body, just add more depth to that room, because I don't feel comfortable, especially in the NFC North, with how loaded this division is at wide receiver with you rolling out with just 4 guys. But the problem is, in terms of trading for a corner, there aren't really any big names out there right now. Like, most teams are not trying to trade one of their starting cornerbacks. So if the Vikings are going to make a move, they're going to have to overpay. Now, also, a lot of the names we're going to talk about, they're most likely going to be deadline moves, where let's just say these teams, they're struggling and the Vikings are coming off hot, which I think the first 5 games, my expectation for this football team is to be 4-1, if not 5-0 after the first 5 weeks. So if they are 5-0 or 4-1 and the trade deadline's rolling around, I could see the Vikings getting super aggressive, and a team is probably not going to win many games this upcoming season and could be willing to trade one of their top players. That's the New Orleans Saints, and that's Alontae Taylor, the first name we're going to talk about on today's show. Now, Alontae Taylor, if you guys throw on this guy's tape, you'll fall in love with this player ASAP. He has some swagger, some confidence at that cornerback position, which is obviously huge. He's also extremely versatile corner. I was talking to our Saints Now host, Trey Sherrard. He said he was lining up all over. He can play in the slot. He can play outside, and this guy still on his rookie contract. In a contract year, you could get him for a 1-year rental. And also, my favorite part of the stat we're showing you guys right now, 4 sacks. He had 3 sacks in a game last season. So if you want to, come up with some creative, defensive blitzes for him, the Vikings can definitely do so. But the price is going to be a pretty penny to go out there and get Alontae Taylor. Now, this guy was a second-round pick, and he's been living up to that draft pedigree, so you would probably need to give up a 2026 second-round pick. Now, I think if this is a trade deadline move, maybe the Vikings could give up a 3rd or maybe a 4th and a 5th to get this deal done. But if you want to go get him before the season and you want to at least have that Saints front office at least consider this trade, I think if you put a second-round pick on the table for a team who is anticipating they're not going to win a lot of games this upcoming season, maybe a second-round pick gets it done. Maybe the Saints are thinking, if we don't land the number 1 pick in the draft, we could get some more draft capital, use that to trade up next season. So Alontae Taylor, that is my number 1 guy for the Vikings to trade for in the cornerback room. And then another guy that would be a perfect fit in this Brian Flores system. What about a little Greg Newsome II? Played his college football at Northwestern, a very intelligent player and also a very versatile player. Now, he has had the injury bug over the last couple of years, only playing in 13 games this past season. But this guy, when he's out there, he is a highly productive corner, similar to Alontae Taylor. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's a willing tackler, which is obviously huge in the Vikings defensive scheme. And, this guy had 5 PBUs and interception this past season. Now, I think in terms of adding a guy before the season, which, again, is extremely unlikely, you're going to have to overpay for a couple of these guys. But with the Browns, similar to the Saints, trying to load up on draft capital, Newsome is probably the only trade target that is likely before the start of the season. So if you're trying to go all in, get another cornerback in there, Greg Newsome. He also probably wouldn't run you the price of Alontae Taylor. You can maybe get him for a third or fourth round pick before the season. But with where the Vikings are at, you can overpay for a player. Like, it's not necessarily always a bad thing to overpay for a guy, especially in terms of draft capital. Like, for example, giving up a fourth round pick, 10% of fourth round picks end up making the 53-man roster after their rookie contract. So, again, I know you don't love giving up draft capital, especially with the Vikings not been able to draft over the last couple of years with Kwesi. You want to have them in a spot where they can just keep on throwing darts. But I would overpay for a guy, but you guys make the call for me. Should the Vikings overpay for a cornerback? And keep in mind, the only way you're going to trade for a guy is if you overpay for him. So you guys make the call down below in the comments section. Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no if the Vikes should overpay for a corner. We'll dive back into the rest of today's show here in a second, but I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Harry's. And for a limited time, our listeners of Vikings Now by Chat Sports can get Harry's trial set only for $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/chat. Just head over to harrys.com/chat to receive our exclusive discount. Now, each razor at Harry's has a weighted ergonomic handle that gives you total control, which means no more slipping or awkward angles. It feels premium in your hand, balanced for a smoother, steadier shave. Harry's doesn't just make razors. They've got a full line of grooming essentials from shave gel to deodorant to body wash, all thoughtfully made and priced to stock up. All of Harry's blades and grooming products can be delivered right to your door. So set your preferred schedule and never run out of blades again. Now, I have used other razors in the past, but the problem with me, they would always become way too dull, way too fast, and plus they started to irritate my neck. But at Harry's, this razor, it's awesome. Completely changed how I view shaving every single day. And also, other razors costed way too much. $20 for a 4-pack of refills. That sounds like a total scam, but not at Harry's. And for a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/chat. Just head over to harrys.com/chat to receive our exclusive discount. After you purchase, they will ask where you heard about them. Please support our show, Vikings Now by Chat Sports, and tell them our show sent you. All right, let's dive into 3 more names here. 3 cornerback trade targets for the Minnesota Vikings. Again, I could see them really getting aggressive here. It just comes down to, it takes 2 to tango. Like, remember there was reports about the Vikings were really trying to be aggressive for Anthony Richardson. They were going to send a haul, but, the team they were trying to trade up with, they didn't want to, get involved with that trade. So, again, these are all unlikely, but a guy that would be a home run trade, how about Riq Woolen of the Seattle Seahawks? Now, they added to the secondary this offseason. They obviously got Devin Witherspoon, their cornerback one. They love him. Picked up Nick Emanwari. I know Vikings fans were hoping the Vikes would draft him, but they added to that safety room. They've been adding to that secondary. And, Tariq Woolen, one of the best up-and-coming corners in the league. Big body, 6'3", super long wingspan as well. Great press man corner. And to have the Seattle Seahawks consider moving off him, like, the Vikings are going to have to send them a Godfather offer. Like, I could even see Riq Woolen going for a first-round pick, but definitely a second. But again, if you put that on the table and you put the pressure on Seattle, be like, oh, wow, we could get a first-round pick for this guy, and we just added to this cornerback room, maybe we'll just take it. So Riq Woolen, he would be another dream target for me. But I think Riq Woolen, if he gets dealt, it would have to be like Seattle really struggles early on in the season. They're like, all right, maybe we should just kind of kick the tires a little bit, get some draft capital for future drafts, and maybe they go try to get their franchise quarterback after our good old friend Sam Darnold's time there is done. But a guy that, I think is likely as well, Daron Bland in a contract year. Now, Daron Bland had one of the most insane cornerback seasons back in 2023. I think he had 6 touchdowns that year, but had a total of 9 interceptions. And also, during his first 2 seasons in the NFL, when this guy was healthy, playing all 17 games, he had 14 interceptions. He is a true ball hawk. He is a gambler. Now, the downside of Daron Bland, he's not the most willing tackler, and he's very similar to his counterpart, Trayvon Diggs, where He'll gamble on a couple of plays. He'll get beat over the top, but also if you give him a chance to make a play on the football, he will make that play. And a gambling cornerback in the Flores system, I am in. Now, Bland, if he does come to Minnesota, him playing the run defense side of the field or side of the game, definitely need to improve. But with Flores, you can get the most out of all these corners, and a guy that's just got a lot of natural talent, some great instincts. I'd be in on Daron Bland in a contract year as well, so the price at the deadline may not be as extreme as you would think. But Daron Bland, if you could get him to Minnesota, sign me up any day of the week. Now, another guy I'm a massive fan of here, number 5 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jamel Dean. Now, Jamel Dean's been one of the most consistent corners in the NFL over the last couple of seasons. He's just a solid player. Is he like that true one, like Pat Surtain, Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley? No, but he is just a solid corner. You could put him all over the field. So that versatility would obviously excel with this Flores scheme, and he graded out very well last year. Like, he was the 26th highest graded corner with a 75.1 overall grade. And they came with a lot of snaps, almost 700 snaps this past season for Dean. Had a really solid coverage grade of 74.9, had a really solid run defense grade of 68.0. So those are 5 options. Again, all these guys are pretty unlikely before the season, except for Greg Newsome. But trade deadline rolls around. Maybe the Vikings can man the ship with that cornerback room looking extra thin. Then maybe the deadline rolls around and they make a big-time move. But I do want to get you guys some news here to round out today's show. Gabe Murphy returning to the Vikings practice squad. Thank the Lord for that one. I thought there was a chance he was going to get picked up on waivers. Honestly, I'm shocked he didn't. So that's good news there for us Vikings fans. And then also, Samaya Vaughn returning to the practice squad, which is good news as well. Just adding another body to that cornerback room. He could get elevated on game day very quickly, so I could see that being a possibility. But also, Kayvon Wallace is working out with the Vikings today. He was just cut by the New York Giants, safety. I think this would probably just be a practice squad guy. I can't see the Vikings carrying 6 safeties on the roster. Now, maybe Tavierre Thomas, special teams demon, maybe he goes back to the practice squad. But I would really have no interest there. Just ride out with Jay Ward, Theo Jackson as that third safety. And I think that would be just fine for that safety room. But if you guys made it to the end, we appreciate you for watching this entire thing. And if you did, hit me with a skull down below in the comment section and hit that subscribe button on your way out. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.